afternoon, everyone. My name is Kenny, and today I'll be talking about the electoral college system and why I believe it is necessary for America and why we should keep it. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of good questions at the end. Hopefully I can answer some of these in my presentation. It was a day like any other. I logged into my Facebook the day after the election, probably procrastinating on homework of some sort. That was probably due at midnight. And I log in, and the first thing I see is all my friends who were very disappointed in the election, post after post after post of just ripping the electoral college, saying it was worthless, old, and it was the reason my candidate lost. And I began to think about that, because it wasn't long before I was that person who was furious at the electoral college system and would probably have joined my friends. But it was the year before I was at the University of Nevada, Reno. And before I came to San Diego, my major was social studies. And with my social studies degree, I had to do a lot of political science classes. And it was there where I actually learned about the electoral college system and how it worked and why it worked and the reason behind it. It was not until then, after doing my own research on the topic, because I wanted to learn more about it, that it finally clicked why we have an electoral college system and why it made sense. So, in my presentation, I hope to clarify some myths and hopefully get rid of the mean thoughts of the electoral system. The reason I also picked this topic is because it's important to all of us. This is the system which our country uses and how we will select our presidents for many years now. And I'm kind of a political junkie anyway, so this kind of stuff I really do enjoy. So my overall theme is to persuade young voters like you why we should keep the electoral college. And my 3 points I'm going to cover today are the history and creation of the electoral college, how it came to be, reasons to keep it, and then common myths or speculations about the electoral college that aren't necessarily true. So we will go over the history of it. I read a book by Pierce. It was called Keeping the Electoral College System. It started back in May 1789. That was when America had declared its independence from Britain. And they were trying to figure out, what are we going to do with our new democracy? And it was here that they debated what the president side of the government was supposed to do, the rules of it, who would be elected, and with that, they debated how should the president be elected. And I thought it was interesting in my research to discover that they thought about the electoral college the same thing we fight about today, whether it should be a popular vote or Congress should vote. And they came together, both sides, and decided to have an electoral college where it would be the people would, every state would have some say in what goes on, no matter the size or population, and try to make an equal playing field. So this is what our last election was for the electoral college. Reasons to keep it. This is from the U.S. Census Bureau from just last year, and it shows the population per per square mile. One of the reasons the Founding Fathers decided to keep the electoral college is it made an equal playing field. And what I mean by that is they were concerned about big states ruling small states. The common problem when they were creating the electoral college, or wanting the people advocating for a popular vote, they were concerned that, hey, I'm a little state, I only have so many people, while another state like Boston, a state like Massachusetts, with Boston that has a lot more people, can say what goes on, and I'm Rhode Island, and I don't have many people. So how does my voice get said in what happens in the country? So that was the main reasoning and the Electoral College, it also has candidates actually go to the states, because if it was based on a popular vote, why would candidates go to Colorado? Why would they come to a little hick town called Fallon, Nevada? There's not many people there. But with the Electoral College, it makes the candidate get out because they need as many votes as they can from every state, because every state does matter. If it was a popular vote, they would only visit, big, large cities where the people are. And that was kind of the point of this, was to show that, as you can see in the middle of the United States, there really isn't many people, and where most of the people are located are on the oceans, on the Pacific and the Atlantic. And if it was a popular vote, the middle states or the Midwest wouldn't have much to say because they don't have as many people. And now we'll go move on to like the myths about the Electoral College that I found. And a lot of this was I googled like myths or complaints about the Electoral College, and I think one of them was the Washington Post. One thing I found interesting is one myth was the Electoral College would be quote unquote more fair, and that the people have, and it brought up that people were saying there had been many times in American history where a president could win the Electoral College but not the popular vote. And this is true. It has happened, but in our nation's history, it has only happened 4 times. The election of 1842, the election of 1876, the election of 1888, and the recent one, 2000. That is the only time in our nation's history where a president won the Electoral College but not the popular vote. Every other time the president has won popular vote and the Electoral College. Another common myth was my vote doesn't count. This one I have heard many times, and I used to believe the same thing. But then I did some research on the 2000 election. I believe it was Bush versus Gore. And this was all in the New York Times. And the people who said my vote didn't count in Florida, Bush won that state only by 0.03%. Does anyone remember the Hanging Chads incident? I know we were kind of young back in the day, but that was something that really did shock everyone, because Florida was the last state to be counted, and if it went for it was Al Gore who would be president, if it went for Bush, he would be president, and it was less than a couple thousand votes, which is like the size of my small little, hick town of Fallon. I mean, there's nothing when you compare it to the millions of votes that have been casted. So just a quick overview of what I've talked about today, the history of it, the founding fathers creating it to equalize power, big state versus small state. I showed why it was important for us to keep it for our democracy, and hopefully answer some questions about the myths or misconceptions about the Electoral College. And I would like to close with the following passage. When it comes to the elections in the Electoral College, be part of our history and part of the future as we decide what our country will do and be in the future. Thank you. And just a quick note, this was also election of 2012, and this is divided by counties, and it showed you blue is Obama and red was Mitt Romney. So just kind of give you an overview of that. So, any questions for you? Or any questions for me? Any questions for you? I could ask questions all day. No. Anybody have any questions? Something you don't think is fair? Or you all just want to get out of here? I'm down with that. All right. Thank you guys.